Thank you so much for joining us on Ubuntu channel this evening. My name is Lawrence, and I'm hosting you for this particular program. And interesting, actually, I should make mention program that we are going to have. And tonight on Ubuntu Politics, we are looking at government's employment of 3,000 health workers. Now, let's just have a recap. As of 21st of November this year, the Ministry of Health indicated that it was going to carry out the employment of health workers in two phases, with phase one being the promotion of in-service staff, and that will be followed by the recruitment of new entrants. In order to ensure that candidates are promoted and recruited, the Civil Service Commission also directed that the recruitment process for health workers be halted at that point until further notice. In addition, the commission also directed the provincial administrator to ensure that in the meantime, the application documents are maintained at the districts to be submitted to the province at an appropriate time, which has been done. And today, the names for the 3,000 successful health workers were published in the Zambia Daily Mail today. And I can mention that I have heard of people celebrating their appointments, and we are going to look at this and probably touch one or two other issues. But to begin with, let me introduce my guest on this particular program. Mukelabai, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Ubuntu channel this evening.
Good evening, Lawrence. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, and I'm so happy that you are with us this evening after missing last week.
Me too. Me too. I'm delighted. We are not just we don't just come on this show and talk about politics. We have other things that are more important also to do our lives. We work, we make money, we hustling. So it's not that every day we are into talking about politics. We have families, we have things that we need to attend to. So uh, we apologize for for the last week, for not coming on the show due to circumstances beyond our control. However, here we are again. We are ready to go.
Exactly. Now, let's get into it. The names for the successful candidates, that's the health workers, have been published this morning in the newspapers, and there's quite some jubilation, and some people are mourning that they were left out. Mukelabai, first and foremost, let me just ask for your overall reaction to this development.
Well, thank you so much. This is one of the promises that this government made, that they were going to create a lot of opportunities and employment for every Zambians. And I believe not everyone that will be employed at once, but at least most of our youths, because I don't think there is in that list there is anyone who is beyond 50 years of age. So most of those that are on that list are the young ones, are the youths, and those who have been sitting idle for the past 10 years or 20 years without, after completing their education, spent so much money. And because the previous regime was so selfish, self-centered, they were just looking at their own, or they were very selective or tribal somehow. You find that most of these innocent and real indigenous Zambians were left out just because of names, just because of the province they came from, just because of They were not even affiliated to any political party just because they, they were not in support of the government of the day at that time. So you find that there was a lot of unfairness where many Zambians started to feel as though they were foreigners in their own countries because Zambia had only become legit to the other sector of the country, but the other region, and then yet the rest were just non entities. So this government has actually decided to come up with a different approach where when I was looking at the names on the list, that list, I could see a lot of mixed cut. Should I say mixed cut in a sense that there was a lot of mixture. Every name from every province of this country appeared on that. You can even tell that there's no. This is not. You cannot even tell that the way we used to say those things that you just see a list of cadres, but with these, no, you find everyone is enlisted on that those that qualified and those that met the criteria and they have been selected. To me, that's the positive things to do, and that's the plus that we need to give despite what we are going through, despite the inheritance of this uh, this economical hardship that they inherited, this government. At least they are trying. So far, we've had uh, 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 civil servants that have been employed, so many of them the first year. Now we have another 3,000 of health workers. They promised and they delivering. But people are being so in a hurry wanting to judge them, forgetting about the time frame they gave them. This
Right.
government.
Before we even go into any other things, I want to bring to your attention the fact that uh, on average, we have about 8,000 health workers graduating from various colleges and universities are hoping to get employment into government because apparently in the health sector, a good number of private institutions actually are not well paying. Now, when you look at 3,000 for the whole year 2023 alone, um, doesn't it add up to a drop in the ocean when you look at the number of candidates and hopefuls? Because if we can remind each other, over 100,000 applications were received by the ministry for these 3,000 jobs. So how do we strike a balance looking at the high unemployment levels in the country?
Thank you. What this government has done, you see, what you have to understand is that not everyone will be employed by the government. And that's a very wrong misconception that you go to school and hoping to be employed by the government. That's a very terrible way of thinking. If we can just get away, we can get rid of that mindset because opportunities are many and plenty. And Zambians who are trained as nurses or health workers or any field, they are not limited to just working in Zambia. They are not limited just to work for the government. The government can take a fraction of people because at the end of the day, those people need to be paid. You don't tell me that the government should employ everyone and fail to pay them at the end of the day, you will be the first people to complain. So not everyone will be employed by the government. But the good thing is that many youths have attained education. They have gone to school. They have empowered themselves. And now, after completing their school, now this is where they need to sit down and is now start searching, you know, searching. You don't just limit your search. You spread your wings, you know, and fly. Some of us, we traveled, we are in the diaspora. We never thought one day we're going to find ourselves in the diaspora, leaving our jobs, our professions, doing something else. But that's life. As human beings, we are nomadic by nature. We cannot just sit in one place and hope to have a job falling on our feet, on our thighs. No, we need to struggle. We need to search. We need to we need to move. Leave that couch. Leave that sofa. Leave the social media. Leave that TV, video games. Go and look for an opportunity. Go and look for work. If you can't be employed, create the job yourself. Find ways. Today we have internet that gives us information. You don't have to go to the library. You can access information on our fingertips using our thumbs and and our pointing fingers, using the gadgets that we have. So we don't have to depend onto the government to be able to get a job. That if the government does not create or does not give us a job, then we are doomed. Then we shall be forever be struggling. The best thing we need to do is to spread our wings. Do not just limit your search. Spread your catchment area. Don't just target the government. Target private sectors. Target other government sectors within your region. We have SADC region. We have South. We have Africa. We have the whole continent. We have the whole world. You can go to other. You don't need to limit yourself. The sky should be the limit. So don't. So me, I feel that what the government is doing, they are just trying to fill up the gap, what they can afford, so that at least some of the youths are not just left languishing on the street and start becoming kada. They become kadas where they start throwing stones. At least they are given something to do. So to me, that's a plus. At the same time, the government is not just sitting idle. The government is creating environment, an enabling environment where they are bringing in investors, creating that will create more jobs. That also means that those that have been left out will be swallowed within the investors, these private investors or international investors. So we just need to stay calm, because the problem that we have, Lawrence, is that in Zambia we are too much in a hurry. This government has been in office for only 2 years, going to 3 now. And
Don't you
look at
think
what they have done so far.
for some people to be impatient, looking at the fact that we have graduates who have been home for years without a job, without a business, and to make matters worse, in Zambia, the interest rates, bank interest rates, are so high, as high as 45%, 50%, for someone to get a loan to start a business. It's just something that is very, 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 very inconveniencing in terms of personal development. So don't you feel it's justifiable that some people are so much in a hurry, looking at the number of years they have been stuck at home after graduating?
I know but it's true. and we cannot stop people from getting in a hurry, you know, because everyone wants to be somewhere. You know, you need to eat, you need to 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 meet your dreams, but reality speaks otherwise. We have a government that was in power. For example, I'm going to give an example because there's no way I will avoid talking about our selfish African leaders who actually are supposed to create these jobs, but instead they choose to fatten their pockets selfishly. Look at the previous government, the previous regime, the PF. What is it that they did to this nation? Look at the cases, look at the amount of debts. What is it that they did with the monies that they borrowed? How many jobs creation? How many people how did they employ? What has that debt done to us, our country today? Right now, we are struggling as a nation. They put us in a very awkward situation where this current government that took over from them, they're failing to keep the economy above the sea, above the water. They're sinking also. Why? Because there's a heavy chain of debts that is dragging this nation down deep the sea. Why? Because of selfish leaders or incompetency that people fail to even acknowledge, but is still praising people that were incompetent. The previous government messed up a lot of things. They tried to touch things here and there, try to bring development here and there, but what we could see, they had no vision for this nation, and that's why we are in this mess today. Because the chains, the heavy load of the economy, the debts, they are dragging this nation down in the sea. And we are stuck on the chain. We can't cut it so that we can go above it. We're going to drown. But this government is trying by all means, despite the heavy load, they are trying with the little resources they inherited and what they are trying to make now. We see some light at the end of the tunnel. Say probably this period is going to pass, and once this period is past, we have we have overcome this. We are going to see at least something at the end of the day. We are going to be on the shore. Right now, Zambian economy is actually being dragged with an anchor down in the deep sea, the anchor that was left by the previous governments. So it is not an easy issue. Now, to see the people that put this anchor into the deep sea coming back and wanting to put the anchor, another anchor to the anchor which was already there, it bleeds. It makes me it is disheartening. So, and they should learn to appreciate the efforts that are being made by the current government. Yes, the current government
let's
had
let's
made
let's
some
do
promises.
let's look at some of the positives to this particular recruitment. If you followed my preamble, I mentioned how the Ministry of Health actually positioned themselves to undertake this particular recruitment in two phases, with phase one being the upgrading or maybe we can say, I can say the promotion of already employed staff who had spent money to go and upgrade themselves in education and invested quite heavily to ensure that education-wise they are up there from where they were previously. And unfortunately, what has been the trend in the years is that after you go, probably you were employed as a diploma holder and you go back to school and get a degree, you come back and tell the government that this is what you have done. The response was there are no vacancies for degree holders, so you continue getting paid as a diploma holder when you have actually a bigger paper. And the ministry actually started by upgrading those particular staff who were affected in that line. How much of a boost is that to the morale of the civil servants? That is those working in the Ministry of Health in particular.
This is what I've been telling you to say. Uh, the previous government destroyed all these efforts, all these chances for those that had the opportunity. Because where is the government going to find money to pay degree holders when they can only probably manage to pay 2 people for a diploma than employing 1 person with a degree holder, when they need probably many people to come in? They need service delivery. People are complaining that the health sector is understaffed. People are complaining that patients are not looked after properly. They need people that are well trained to go in and help them. But does the government have the capacity to pay the profession, the people that have the qualifications? So you find that the government is pushed in a corner, that they have a tight budget. They have to live within the means as well. They have to live within what they can afford. So if the government is pushed in the corner, this is where you and me, we are going to start crying foul and point a finger at the government for not delivering services. And because in Zambia, we like threatening governments with votes, that if you don't deliver, we are going to kick you out of power. It's automatic. You know, we will start pointing fingers. You are not doing this, we are not doing this, you know, even when they are mandated to deliver, but they are doing it also for fear. Some of them, the government will start working in fear instead of delivering their services, but they're doing it just to get the vote. That's where we fumble. That's where they're going to make a lot of mistakes and errors. So let the government live within the means. Right now, our means are so scarce. Despite having inherited a huge, huge debt, they are trying 3,000 health workers and they are put on a salary. These need to be relocated to places. They need to be housed. They need to be taken care of with their own, all their needs. Who should be responsible for that? The government. Does the government have the capacity to take care, to look after their employees? Are we not the people that are going to start pointing a finger at the government to say, look, you were just employing the number and look at the service delivery? It's too poor. So we need to be very, very sincere when it comes to um, uh, supporting the government of the day for what they are doing, that is mandated by law or by us voting for them, because they are mandated to create these jobs for our people to have better health care, for our citizens to have all those that are the professional technical how, so that we don't have to point a finger at them. So the government is obligated to do so. And what they have done now, they have simply fulfilled one of their obligations. And we just need to say, thank you for having the foresight. Thank you for considering your citizens' plight. And thank you that you have finally given, created these jobs opportunities for these 3,000. We know it is a drop in an ocean, but it is better than nothing, or better than choosing a group of people from a particular region to be employed, or for a particular political party to join the government, when the rest of the youths are wallowing under uh, abject poverty, or they have no employment whatsoever. An effort has been made. So that's why the youths also that have been given these jobs, they need to guard their jobs with care and jealously, because they need to do their job diligently, not where they start involving themselves in politics that will end their career. For example, of that situation I saw where the minister fired some girl over prescription.
Okay. Okay. Let me give you just a minute for you to conclude on this one before we can switch to something else happening in the world of politics, that is right in Zambia, and then we can get to wind up. But I'll give you a minute to just wind up on the issue of this recruitment by the Ministry of Health.
Well, I just want to thank the government for fulfilling one of their promises. I know that they have so many obligations that they are supposed to fulfill, but they are somehow tight. Their legs are tight because there's this load, heavy load of the debt that Wolungu, together with his minions, left, and they have to fix that. How do they fix it? Even under these difficult circumstances, where the owners of the monies, they have come up with conditions that are really pressing us. The fuel prices are going up. We have no control. A lot of commodities are going up. We have no control. We know, we understand. However, we want to thank the government to say, whatever little money that you have, for you to have even thought, instead of pocketing that money or giving it to the donors or to the owners of the debts, you chose to give that money to our men and women, our youths who are employed under Ministry of Health. That's a plus. We see that you are very grateful, you are very considerate, that you are not just thinking about other things, but you are thinking about the youths, you are thinking about the Zambians. We are appreciating for that effort. However, please look into other people's plight. It's not just health workers. We have so many, but we know that you are working under a tight budget, but that should not stop you from giving one or two people jobs so that they could also have a living at the end of the day.
Okay. Now, let me just remind our viewers that this is Let's Talk Politics on Ubuntu channel, and we are live every Tuesday at 20 hours, and you can be sure to join us. And we started by talking about the recruitment of 3,000 health workers. We spoke about it because it's obviously a step in the right direction by the government of the day. And now we are switching a notch up to the real politics, where we have seen issues happening, especially things to do with the by-elections that are set to happen in Mwansabombe ward, Mayembe ward, um, that is um, Kayo ward as well. and Kampamba Ward in Pika district, and we've seen some drama there where the Patriotic Front Sim 2 had printed some adoption certificates for some of the members that they wanted to sponsor. Alas, the Electoral Commission of Zambia has since rejected them, and that means we will not have the Patriotic Front on the ballot paper for those particular words. Mukelabai, we are seeing especially photos circulating on social media where, for example, in Mayembe ward, we are seeing a copy of a an adoption certificate or a certificate of sponsorship by the Patriotic Front for Mr. Morgan Malama, who was set to stand as a on the PF ticket for Mayembe Ward, and the ECZ has since rejected those adoption certificates. Mukelabai, how do you react to this particular development?
Well, these are self-infliction wounds. The PF, they are doing this to themselves, and these are the things that we've been telling them. I know there's this narrative going around, there's this propaganda that they are busy spreading around to say the government of the day is in support of the other factions or the other PF, which is of Mao Sampa. I don't know what the government would. I mean, they beat the PF and then go back and start supporting the people that they defeated. It doesn't make sense, because if the other president Volungu and the Ruvinda people wants to come back, and they will, if it was done, it will be done again. They should actually be careful in the manner in which they are dealing with this matter. The best advice I would give the Lungu factions and Mao Sampa is to swallow their pride, swallow their ego, sit down and come up with the formalities. Let them make some modalities in how they can work together. And since they are on the same page, they have the same camp, that way it's easy for them to negotiate and come up with the right decision. If they want Mao Sampa to lead them to the convention, let them go with Mao Sampa together as a team, if they want to keep this party alive. But what they are doing a disservice to themselves. They are busy shooting themselves into their own legs. They are claiming they are the legit Patriotic Front. Mao Sampa is also claiming he is also a legit Patriotic Front. So that's why their matter now is in court. And the court, I mean, you need someone to come and tell you how to cooperate and how to behave. No, what I see here is bullying. Edgar Changwalungu, together with the Ruvinda group, they have been trying to bully Mao Sampa from the word go. They've bullied him before. They've done it. They even succeeded. They put him down. He bent down to his knees and accepted whatever they did to him. He accepted and forgave them, and he went ahead. But they never saw the need, the importance of him. They never even considered his plight. They never even took him serious. But now, Mao Sampa knows, because they say once bitten, twice shy. Mao Sampa realized to say he's working with people that are so ungrateful. Despite the contribution he's made towards them, despite having supported them, despite being on the same boat with them, they still want to throw him overboard. They still want to put him under So they really want to step on him. That's why you see that Mao Sampa seem to be alone. Why? Because they are bullied. These are bullies. They are bullying him.
Mukelabai,
And yes,
shouldn't the Electoral Commission of Zambia have allowed the Patriotic Front to file in their nominations for the sake of democracy, looking at the fact that the Mao Sampa faction did not have a candidate in some of these wards?
that's the confusion that is within the Patriotic Front. That's the confusion that is within, because they are fighting among themselves. Yes, the Electoral Commission, they know. They will just receive anyone that comes with a document to file in. But the question is, who is the current president of the Patriotic Front? Who is the legitimate Patriotic Front president on paper or legitimately? Because Lungu is still a retiree, is now an ordinary member who just came, who is a former, just came back from his slumber, decided to come back. Like I said, because Mao Sampa has been bullied by Lungu before, Lungu thought by coming back is going to put Mao Sampa again in his rightful place to bully him. But Mao Sampa is saying, enough is enough to the bullies. You have bullied me, Pafula. Let me now retaliate. So that's why there's this confusion. It's not that Mao Sampa is being supported by the UPND. That's not true. That is just PF making. But the Electoral Commission will allow anyone to come forward, okay? As long as they have the rightful documentation and they belong to a political party. Right now, PF is still a registered political party. How they choose to bring the candidate, it's none of the Electoral Commission. For as long as they come, but if they see that, if the Electoral Commission discovers that these guys, they are coming with different views, with different names, one political party comes with different names because of their differences, the Electoral Commission has the right to reject such application.
Mukelabai, apparently, I'm looking at the three letters which were written by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to the said candidates from the Patriotic Front, and the reason that has been given to all of them for not accepting their nomination or for canceling their nomination, it says nomination paper not appropriately signed. Now, when you look at the nomination papers themselves, they seem to be signed by party president, and it looks like it is Edgar Chagwalungu's signature, and party secretary general, who happens to be Raphael Nagajinda. But um,
That's wrong.
maybe the dates are missing.
No, that's just wrong. Edgar Changwalungu is not the party president of the Patriotic Front. Even a grade 5 can simply say, Edgar Changwalungu manashita retire. Simple. So Edgar Changwalungu is imposing himself because that's why I'm saying he's bullying around. He wants to throw his strength and his weight over this issue. Edgar Changwalungu, if he wants to come back and into active politics, he has to be an ordinary member now, despite him having held a senior position. But he's coming back to hold an ordinary, because we have 10 prospective candidates in PF that are supposed to be elected, the nominees or those prospective or the nominated, those that paid my 200 pin, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you think they did that? Because there's a vacancy. There's a vacancy, and the reason why those people did pay that amount, including Mao Sampa, it's because Edgar Changwalungu had resigned. You cannot refuse. If you are working for an employer and you go to him and say, I have decided to terminate my contract by way of resignation, your employer is not under any legal obligation to reject your resignation. You can't say you have rejected my resignation, therefore you're still an employee. No, that's his prerogative. Anyone can terminate a contract at any given time. So if you simply say, no, we don't want you to resign, you want you to just go on leave, we just, it's not your choice to make. What is important is the first cut is the deepest.
And
Edgar
probably
Changwalu,
to throw
Edgar
another one,
Changwalungu,
just to throw another one in, Mukelabai, the news diggers yesterday reported that quite a number of those presidential candidates who paid those 200 pins for to stand as a PF president are actually claiming their money back because it seemingly they have brought back Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu. Is that justifiable?
this is why I'm saying this Lungu Lubinda, I call it Lulu PF. Huh? I call it Lulu PF because it's Lungu Lubinda PF. This Lulu PF has coiled itself. Their actions, all these disputes, all this confusion is coming as a result of their own actions. Luvinda was not supposed to start making decisions where he was supposed to start disciplining the candidates or the MCCs or the members. He had no right to do so because he is just an interim president. He had no right. He doesn't have the power. Doesn't even have the power to elect or to choose the SG. That's where Nakachinda's position is also questionable. That's why, what's his name again? Luvinda's position as the acting president is questionable. Now, the return of Lungu, why did he return if he did not resign as a president? It does not mean that when your name is still appearing on the paper after your resignation and they're waiting for the actual president, the new president to come, that does not mean you are still the legitimate president of the particular party. That's where the problem is, and we just have to leave this issue to the court to decide, because I believe the matter is still in court. You know, Lungu resigned. Just that letter that he tendered in to cabinet, that is what has caused all this confusion. One, he relinquished his power. By virtue of writing that letter and put a date on it and hand it over, he immediately relinquished himself from being the party president. Secondly, he ceased to be the party president, meaning there was a vacancy within the power. There was a power vacuum now. The only thing that PF ought to have done was to call for a national convention by the SG. But what happened in this situation? The SG too tendered in his resignation, meaning the party became empty without any leader. There was no leader. There was no one to drive this party into the right direction. They just shot themselves into their own legs. Lungu ought to have waited after losing power. He should not have rushed Tenga to terminal benefits, term of presidential, whatever, because that was what was in his mind at the time. He ought to have waited until he handed over power to the next leader. That way, Lungu was not going to be, or even Sampa was not going to take over the presidentship. Right now, legally speaking, Mao Sampa, he is the party president of the Patriotic Front. So people should not mistake this. Mao Sampa, he is the president. We are waiting for the court to decide. If the court decides otherwise, they have to come up with a very good reason. But from the look of things, whether the elections were sham, whether it was illegal, whether nobody attended, but for as long as he conducted an election, for as long as the majority people came, and those people that came are members of the PF and voted him to be president, and nobody put a stop order to this. Not even an injunction was put to stop Mao Sampa from holding this election. That meant that that election became legit, became legal, unless the court proves otherwise. To say, no, it is not, it was illegal. That is when we can simply say the court has decided. But for now, as it is, Mao Sampa is the PF president. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, by coming back to PF, it means that Edgar Chagwa Lungu is merely a member of the, he is not even a part of the MCCs. Unfortunately, despite him having held the highest office, he had given up. He had resigned. He ceased to be the president. He ceased to be even probably a member. He just became an ordinary member. So if he wants to go back and become the president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu needs to be elected again by the party members. The way they did it during when Tutu Nguruve, may his soul rest in peace, that time in 2014, that is how Lungu should be re-elected if he wants to be the party president. But this time around, Mao Sampa saw it coming, went ahead and held elections. Mao Sampa was elected. Nobody put a stop order to that election. It went through and he was elected. What do we call that? At the party level, not at the national level. We are not mixing this to the nation. The mistake these guys are making is to mixed up this thing to the nation. The nation has got nothing to do with PF's confusion. What is going on within PF's confusion, it is entirely their own baby. But PF needs to come to their senses, work together with Mao Sampa, find common grounds. I promise you, I don't think Mao Sampa is going to be so difficult because you are of the same party, political party. But the problem that I see here is that you guys, Venerubinda, Lulu, PF, you want to bully, to show Mao Sampa who the boss is. Unfortunately, the boss fumbled. The boss cut himself out. He thought he was being clever. Whoever advised him to do so, he's the one that he should go to and say, look at what you have put myself into. Wanireterera manje. Edgar Changwalungu is still popular among the political, the PF. If he wants, let him go to the convention. If he wants to stand as a party president, he will be party president. Don't make laws into your own heads. You have a constitution that you need to follow. But PF, that's my only advice. Sit down within your party, swallow your pride, swallow your ego. Sit down. Call your brother Mao Sampa. Talk. Or else he is going to fire you, most of you, and there will be more by-elections. And that's what we don't want. We don't want that because it's going to cost us. Already you put us in a deep debt, and then you want Mao Sampa to fire all of you so that we can go for by-elections. We can do that. He can do that. He's a party president. So, ukusenda chinsenda kunkoko, alavane kunakirila. This is a lousy man telling you your own, speaking about your own idioms, mwebabemba. I'm using Bemba because I grew up in Bembala. So, ukusenda chinsenda kunkoko ba PF kunakirila. Nga mulefu ayo kulete chibote mu PF. Ikale ni punch na Mao Sampa landeni. Sit down around the table. He's your brother. Swallow your pride. Utuma boss, utuma tantrums. Mulepo sa bena kampiongo. I've seen you pointing fingers, calling your brother names. That is not going to help you. You are just precipitating this anger, and there will be division and there will be inner fighting. So sit down with your brother Mao Sampa, find a common ground. You will
Mukelabai, we can start winding up because there is quite a lot that we need to look at next week. And for this week, probably let me give you a chance to just give your concluding remarks, looking at everything that we have spoken about this evening. Please keep it under 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. You ran away and came back. Anyway, I saw that I was talking to myself. Anyway, thank you. My remarks is that va PF tulefwaya echivote muchalo chesu. We need you. We need an opposition that is going to put this government on its toes, because there are so many things that this government ought to do or need to do as they aligned their promises during our campaigns in 2020, 2021, you know. So we need an opposition, a strong opposition political party. Right now, when a socialist party, Womembe, I don't think it is as strong as we want. Womembe he has his own strength and weaknesses. He's still new on the market. What's his name again? Calabar is practically PF. He cannot change all of a sudden to be a different angel. So that one, I will simply forgive him. He cannot offer anything for now, despite him having resigned as running away from the corruption that PF had. That's the only positive thing that he did. But from the look of things, what he's talking about, how he's behaving himself, what he says is typical Kampyongo language or Munduvila language, Chishimba language. He is on the same boat. We cannot put him away. Savo Imboela, she has her own issues. We need women in politics. Unfortunately, there's too much drama. Our sister, she seemed to have lost her touch. We know she's anyway. There's also drama in her political party too. I just hope that Kambwili is not gonna come back and claim that he wants to take over his presidentship. I don't know after he serves his prison term. But when the issue is when you have been convicted, you have a criminal record. I don't think you have the right to stand as a president. That's the problem with these convictions. So
Has a
Wakambwili,
excuse him on that. He has appealed, and so the matter
well,
is still.
the question is a convict right now. We cannot, whether he appeals or not, he is a convict. So he already took away. He just put his career in jeopardy, and because of his mouth, because of his tribalism, it's a very terrible thing to do or say, or hate speech, and that's why you, the future politician, need to learn a lesson from this, because if you want to destroy your career, start talking about tribalism or hate speech. I promise you that will be the end of your career, and say just kiss goodbye to your career. Anyway, with the government, our current government, we understand the situation. The current situation is really not okay. The dollar is going up. The kwacha is losing a lot of value. We know we have nothing. We are exporting. We know you have done a lot of groundwork. We are just waiting for that day when dividends or the investors that you have brought into Zambia from the time you guys came into office are going to start now yielding some results. So we believe something positive is going to come our way as a country, but also the debt restructuring, the debt that the PF left. I don't know how far we have gone in terms of payments, but so far we can feel the impact, the heavy, that we are really we are in stress as a nation. However, despite all this, we see positive strides that you are making, you guys. We want you to keep up with the good work. You will have our support come 2026 at the rate at which you are going as the UPND. You are the only party that has that has given Zambia hope that we can do something. Look at the CDF, look at the education, look at the employment. So had you guys inherited a viable economy, I think Zambia was going to be competing with Botswana and these other well-to-do countries. But we know that you guys inherited a huge a debt, and it's not just a debt, because you inherited also human liabilities, such as, there are some people that are still trying to bring you down or sabotage every work that you did. For example, that woman who was sending people to go and buy medicine when there is medicine within the hospital. To me, such individuals need to be gotten rid of. If anything, the minister fired the wrong person. The minister ought to have fired the bosses, the people that supervise that woman. Those are the people that it should not take the minister to go and investigate and find out the scam in the ministry. the government, those people that are working, the bosses to that woman, are the ones that need to be penalized with that. But otherwise, it should have taken the minister not long to deal with the boss as well. So to me, that was insubordination. And to me, that was a scam. And we need to get rid of such individuals. You don't send people to buy medicine when we have enough medicine in our hospitals. You are a danger to our to development, and you're a danger to national development, to progress. So we need to get rid of such people. Otherwise, thank you so much for having had me as your on this program, and I just wish that everyone are going to enjoy this festival season. Please do not drink and drive as we are in this celebratory mood. I just want to wish every Zambian Merry Christmas and have a prosperous New Year. From me and the group and the team, I would simply say, Himanziwani, Muzue Hande, Mupile Hande. Thank you. May God bless you all.